Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So, before I really get into this, I just want to give a trigger warning. I am going to be talking about sensitive stuff that has to do with children. So if those are things you're uncomfortable hearing about, please do not watch this video. A few days ago, I made a video about a guy named Nathan Larson. And in that video, I guess I wasn't that comfortable talking about it, so it's kind of very heavily edited, and there's a lot of jump cuts in it, and it was just not, I'm just not happy with the video. So I'm probably going to take that one down, and this is going to be the video to replace that one. So if you don't know who Nathan Larson is, here is a photograph of him. Nathan Larson is a 40-year-old man that lives in Virginia with his parents. Nathan Larson is honestly a despicable human being, and how he is not in prison right now is just mind-blowing to me. He ran for Congress 3 times, 2 of which he lost with like 2% of the vote, or excuse me, less than 2% of the vote. And then the 3rd time he just withdrew. In between him running for Congress, he wrote to the Secret Service threatening to shoot the president. And in the letter, he didn't specify which president he was talking about, so it's safe to assume, because he's a white supremacist, that it was more directed toward Barack Obama as opposed to George W. Bush, like it says on Wikipedia. Now, Nathan Larson is very open about his views, and he actually did a news interview with WUSA 9 talking about his views when he was running for Congress. This is a man who advocates for white supremacy, hailing Hitler as a hero. He advocates to get rid of women's rights. He does feel like that women are property, and that women are, that all we're really good for is taking care of the home and breeding children. That we do not have that we do not deserve the same rights as what men do. He advocates for incest. He advocates for pedophilia. He really does believe that a female child is the property of the father, and then later of the husband. And that father should be able to do whatever they see fit with that child, even if that includes incest and pedophilia.
Why he's running for Congress. Nathan Larson told me he wants to, quote, restore liberty and make incest legal.
What about sexual relations with your own children?
Like, I would favor, like, legalizing incest.
Why is that?
Just because personal freedom.
What about the children's rights? Wouldn't that be rape to have sex with a child?
Well, like with girls, I mean, I just believe that it should be for fathers to make those decisions.
And you don't find anything wrong with that?
I mean, it's not for me to intrude on another family and tell them what they should do.
Wouldn't that be really dangerous for children?
I don't see how we know that. Like,
children are human beings. They're not property. What about their protection?
The law doesn't treat them as having the full rights of adults.
Nathan Larson also told me he doesn't think wives should be allowed to accuse their husbands of rape.
How this guy was able to run for Congress, and he ran as an independent. When you run as an independent, you have to have 1,000 signatures for you to be able to run. So that means there was 1,000 people who signed this petition, or signed this thing, so that he would be able to run. And I'm not saying that these people knew about him. He probably wasn't open about what he thought till after he got the 1,000 signatures. So a lot of these people probably did not know exactly who Nathan Larson was. It probably just said some of the things, you know, the more relatable things. I know in one of the news interviews that they did, they spoke to one of the people who actually did sign the petition, who actually did sign the thing for him to be able to run for Congress, and she had stated that she did not know anything about that. All she knew is that he was a libertarian, and she's also a libertarian, and that's why she had signed it. Had she known all the other things about him, she would not have signed it. Larson was also married twice, and he has, from what I understand, been divorced from both of these wives. Sadly, one of these ex-wives did commit suicide, and he openly spoke about how he raped his ex-wife. They do have a child together, and luckily that child has never been in his custody, so that child is perfectly safe and away from him and did not grow up in the household with him. But he also openly spoke about how he wanted to have incestual relationships with his own child. Now, the reason it's important to continue talking about Nathan Larson and making sure that the FBI stays on top of investigating this person and hopefully eventually putting this person in prison is because he is the creator of a website that caters to people who think the way that he does, and specifically people who condone or fantasize or think about child pedophilia. And in this website, these are people who speak about doing these things to other children as well as their own. It is a very disgusting website. I'm not going to show anything from that website on my channel, but I will link some videos down below from other creators who have dug deeper into this and do show more detailed stuff than what I'm willing to show. Now, his parents are very aware of what he is doing. As a matter of fact, from what I understand, his mother financially supports him. So she is the one that is paying for him to have these websites. With that, I feel like that the parents are just as accountable as what he is. Like, they are just as guilty. They are allowing this behavior to go on under their roof, and they're not doing anything about it. Like, if I was a parent, and I'm not, but if I was a parent and my child was displaying the same kind of behavior that Nathan Larson is displaying, even though he's a 40-year-old man, I would go and do whatever I can to have him put into a mental hospital. And I hate to say it like that because it sounds so crude, just saying a mental hospital, but I do believe that is where he needs to be. I do believe that he is a danger to society and needs to not be in society. He needs to be somewhere where he can get the psychological help that he needs, because what he is talking about, the things that he wants to do, pedophilia is classified as a mental disorder. By no means am I a doctor or anything like that, or a psychologist, but I do feel like he is somewhere on the autism spectrum. And I'm not saying this is anything negative to other children or people who have autism. Clearly there's different degrees of autism, but I do feel like that he falls somewhere in that line of having autism. And, you know, when you hear this guy speak, you're really like hoping like he's just this massive troll and he's just trolling everybody and he's just saying it for the shock value and for, you know, just to get the reaction from people. But he genuinely believes the things that he's saying. In his mind, what he's saying is how society really views things, and the rest of us are just disagreeing with him to save face and for political correctness. But deep down, we all believe the way that he believes, and deep down, this is how society should be. And I hate to break it to you, but no, society does not agree with you. The mass majority of people do not agree with you. The majority of people look at you and see a disgusting human being that needs to be in prison. When I was watching Belle DeMassie's videos on this particular person, she did a live stream, and in that live stream somebody brought up cancel culture and was talking about how cancel culture is selective. And it really is. Cancel culture is very selective. And we tend to only go after the more popular people. I mean, we see it all the time on the news and social media. Like, for a long time there, you couldn't even turn on the news without hearing about Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein. You know, and now you go on Twitter and or YouTube and every other video is about some beauty guru or some other person, or, you know, all of these different people who for one reason or another are being signaled out. And I think and this is just my personal opinion, not talking about, you know, Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein, but more on the YouTube side, I feel like talking about these other people kind of overshadows the people that really need to be talked about more, such as Nathan Larson. And I hope the way that I'm explaining that makes sense. Like, I'm not trying to say, like, you know, oh, go after these no-name people who are just nobodies and, you know, leave the celebrities or the higher profile people alone. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we tend to focus more on the high profile people, and then the nobodies like Nathan Larson get to just fly under the radar. That's why I feel like it's so important to continue to put his picture out there, to continue to talk about him, to continue to make videos about him. I mean, like, whenever I was doing research on him, honestly, I found more valuable information on YouTube from other creators than I did going looking on the internet and just Googling up his name. And I don't know if this was just me, but everything that I found was like from 2 years ago, back in 2018. Like, there was nothing updated, nothing new. And it was the same news broadcast over and over. It's like, he ran for Congress, they did a news broadcast about him, and then after that it just kind of like disappeared and fell into the ether. And the only person that really was kind of keeping this alive was Belle DeMassey, and then luckily, you know, other people picked up on it as well. Girls, I don't understand it. I don't understand how our system could let these kind of things go unnoticed. But this is just my little rant on all of this. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it was a little bit more put together and better than the last one. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.